I'm getting calls and texts from my family calling me an a-hole for not being on my daughter's side. My husband and I have been married for a little over 5 years now. I will say that my daughter, 19 female, and he have had an okay relationship, not exactly father and daughter, but almost advice asked and given relationship basically. I have never picked up on anything weird from my husband towards my daughter, and my daughter has never said or insinuated anything at all as well. On Thursday, me and my husband were watching a movie in the living room. We paused the movie and he got up to use the bathroom. I heard him knocking on the door twice. Literally 3 knocks each time on the door a couple seconds apart. It was loud enough for me to hear him knocking from the living room. The next moment, I heard screaming. I rushed to the bathroom and saw my daughter completely naked, covering herself and yelling at my husband to get out. I didn't see everything that happened, but what I saw after I heard yelling was my husband literally fell over his own feet and struggling to get the bathroom door closed. I asked my husband what happened and he said that he knocked and nobody answered, so he went in and my daughter was full naked in front of the mirror and he tried to get out. After my daughter calmed down, I asked her side of what happened and she said that she was changing and all of a sudden my husband walked into the bathroom. I asked her why she didn't answer him when he knocked. She said that he didn't. I told her that I heard him knock, so I'm sure that he did. She said she didn't hear it because she had earpods in listening to music. We got the situation sorted and my husband did apologize to her and explained he thought the bathroom was empty when he walked in. She even gave him a hug and apologized for yelling at him. The problem now is my daughter got family members involved and they're now calling my husband a creep. Got a call from my sister berating me for still having my husband in the house. I asked what she meant and it came out that my daughter spun the whole story and left out the fact that she was listening to music with her earpods in and is telling everyone that she answered him and he still walked into the bathroom to look at her. We have cameras in our hallway and it proves that my husband did knock, as you can see it on video, but the camera has no audio. I sat my daughter down and asked her and she denied saying anything like that or that she told anyone anything. I got mad and asked how does your aunt know what happened and she went silent. She said that she talked to her niece about it and she must have told her mother. I asked her why did she lie about what happened and make my husband look bad when he did nothing wrong. She again denied about lying about anything and I told her what my sister told me. She just started to cry and said that she was sorry. She was just talking and making up scenarios with her niece. The whole day yesterday, I got calls and texts from my family members as the story spread. The wrong story is spreading and my husband is looking like a creep to everyone. I sat my daughter down again and had her read some of the things being said about my husband and told her that she has to fix this because her lying is what caused this. She refused, saying that she didn't spread this and that she only told her niece and doesn't want to say anything to anyone because they'll think bad about her. She said they know my husband and this will all just blow over. Everything did blow up when my husband walked into the living room with his bags packed and said he's going to stay with his parents for a while because he doesn't want to be in this situation anymore where he's made out to be this kind of person. My daughter broke down and apologized repeatedly, saying that she'll fix it, but my husband still left. I told her that if I get a divorce because of her lies, she'll be moving out of my house. I told her that she better fix what she did and tell everyone what really happened because I will not be losing a man that loves me and actually cares for me like my husband over lies. She asked me to help her and I told her that no, she isn't a child anymore. Her lies for attention did this. This is on her. I already tried and now I'm also being accused of taking my husband's side and not providing a safe space for my daughter. I don't know what to do. My husband asked for space and my daughter is inconsolable at the moment. And I'm not in the best state myself. Am I in the wrong for telling my 19-year-old daughter that she'll have to move out of my house if I get a divorce because of her lies?
My boyfriend and our circle of friends pranked me on my birthday and I ghosted them because of it. I, 27 male, met my probably soon-to-be ex-boyfriend, Alex, 20 male, 2 years ago through a mutual friend of ours. I never expected he'd be interested in me because when I first met him, he had only been with women. He came out as bisexual to me and our friends not too long after that, and that same night he hinted that he was into me. We got to know each other more and eventually turned into the two of us dating. He's genuinely a sweet and awesome guy, quite introverted, but has a big heart and a real geek about the things he likes. I thought he'd be the one I would be marrying and all that, but I'm thinking that's not going to happen anymore. Last Monday was my birthday, and I went home early from work so that Alex and I can go out and enjoy ourselves. I told him earlier that day that I would go home early. When I opened the door, I was greeted by him laying on the couch while a woman I didn't know was on top of him. They were fully clothed, by the way. I was basically paralyzed and couldn't react at all. He eventually saw me and had a surprised look on his face, but he also looked like he was trying to hold his laugh in. The woman also looked like she was about to laugh as well. I also started to hear chatter from the kitchen and in our bedroom. Alex then shouts, "You guys can come out." And so our friends came out of the bedroom and kitchen holding gifts, party poppers, and a cake. I guess them shouting, "It's a prank, happy birthday," while turning the party poppers on snapped me back to reality because after they said that, I just quietly turned around and left. I didn't see their reactions when I did that, but I could hear them saying, "Oh shit," and "wait," and some other things I can't remember. When I heard them try to follow me, I hastened my pace until I reached my car and drove away. While driving, my phone started to get bombarded by text, calls, and messages from my boyfriend and our friends. When it got too distracting, I just turned off my phone and went to a hotel that's far enough from my place. By the time I got back to my hotel room, I just started sobbing on the floor. I think I blacked out from crying because when I woke up, it was already sunny outside. I made sure to tell my manager at first that I would be absent for a few days due to an emergency, and she was kind enough to accept my request. She probably noticed something was off with me because I was sniffling and my voice sounded weak. Right now, I plan on telling my aunt, who lives near my area, about what happened and asking if I could live with her for a couple of days until I sort out my mind and know what I have to do next. I'm deeply heartbroken because I've told my boyfriend and my friends before how I felt about cheating and how it essentially ruined my family growing up and my young mind back then. My mom cheated on my dad and it broke our family, and I got cheated on by my first boyfriend. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like I overreacted and that I should have just went with it all. I still don't plan on opening my phone, so I'm using my laptop right now to type this. I don't know how to face and respond them all after what has happened. Maybe some time away from them will help. I hope. After I submitted my original post, I packed my things that night and prepared to go to my aunt's house, which wasn't that far, but still a bit of a drive nonetheless. When I finally got there, she was incredibly welcoming and I thanked her for allowing me to stay in her house, even just for a while. She gave me a tight hug and told me that I was always welcome and that she will be there to help me when I need her to. She eventually led me to the spare bedroom that they have in their house and helped me unpack my stuff. She is honestly such an incredible woman and I love her so much. She's basically the mom I've always wanted. Once I was done unpacking, I was again confronted by the fact that I haven't opened my phone for quite some time now. I've avoided it for so long that I didn't think I could open it again, but I knew I had to. The moment my phone booted up, hundreds upon hundreds of texts, chats, and missed calls popped on my screen. Even as I was still hesitant, I decided to open my chats and looked at our friend group's group chat first. The chats from the start were all very frantic in nature, with my friends asking about where I was or what happened. But after scrolling down a few more times, the chats turned into them apologizing that the prank happened and that it was not on the plan at all. One of my friends even blamed the girl that was on top of Alex, my boyfriend, and thought she was untrustworthy. Finally, the chats ended up being them hoping they could contact me and wishing I was safe. I guess they knew I just read their chats because as soon as I was done back reading, my friends immediately knew I was online and asked how I was doing and where I was. They also started apologizing again for not being able to stop the prank from happening and that they didn't know that was going to happen and thought the original prank was going to be something else. At this point, I was thoroughly confused because they seemed happy enough to be there during that night, but I knew I had to apologize to them first for ghosting them and asking their side of the story first before speaking about what had happened. Essentially, they were simply planning a surprise party for me with Alex in a group chat that didn't include me. Then my boyfriend added a few more people into the group chat, saying that they were college friends of his and he wanted them to be part of the surprise too, since they also wanted to meet and get to know me better. As a suggestion, one of my boyfriend's college friends pitched the idea of them pranking me. The plan was my boyfriend is going to be on the couch with a serial killer holding a bloody knife and fake stabbing my boyfriend while the killer was on top of him and while my boyfriend is bleeding everywhere. My boyfriend's college friends thought it would be funny to see my reaction, although my friends were initially skeptical. They reassured them that it would be harmless fun and that once my boyfriend and the friend who will be acting as the killer got their desired reaction on camera, they can just tell me it was all a prank and my friends and my boyfriend's other college friends would come out and surprise me with their gifts and stuff. My friends eventually agreed so long as they don't drag out the prank and immediately reveal everything once they captured my reaction on camera. The day of my birthday comes and everything they've planned seems to be going smoothly, with them waiting for me. My boyfriend's college friends ushered everyone to hide while they set up the prank, and when it was done, they would hide too. When they finally heard my boyfriend say they can come out, they thought the prank was a success because I looked absolutely mortified, but they knew something was up when even after the prank was revealed, I was still looking shocked and almost teary-eyed even, until I finally turned around and left. They were understandably shook and confused, thinking the serial killer prank was too much, but knowing me, I wouldn't have minded it at all since I love scary movies and am an avid horror enjoyer. That was when they realized that my boyfriend's female college friend was on top of my boyfriend, not wearing any serial killer costume and not holding any fake bloody knife. Then they saw my boyfriend pushing his female college friend away from him and chasing after me. Some of them also tried to follow me, while some were asking what happened to the original plan. Even my boyfriend's other college friends were wondering why their female friend wasn't in costume, but she was just silent. After a few minutes, my boyfriend came back to our apartment looking distraught and crying. He then tells everyone that they should all go and proceeds to go to our bedroom. They wanted to ask him what happened, but he shut the door before they could. His female college friend then followed him inside, which really weirded them out, but after a while, they hear my boyfriend shouting at her, telling her to off. She then goes out the door on the verge of tears and leaves the apartment. They said everything happened so fast that they didn't know how to process all that has happened. Not too long after that though, they realized I was missing and started calling and texting me, but I didn't respond to any of them. Eventually, I was unreachable. I turned off my phone and decided they should just go home and wait for me to respond. My boyfriend's college friends apologized profusely to what has happened and didn't mean for any of this to happen, but they basically just ignored them. They then followed the retelling of their side with videos that they recorded that proved their accounts, along with an apology and wishing that I was doing well. After my friends told me what happened on their point of view, I felt really terrible and apologized again for ghosting them and telling them that everything that happened was not their fault. I told them that I would make it up to them soon, but they reassured me that they accept my apology and are just happy that I'm alive and well. They also pitched to have a late birthday celebration with me this weekend, and my boyfriend and his friends aren't included this time. I of course happily agreed and thanked them for being such great friends and that I really couldn't thank them enough for being such an awesome bunch of people. The next morning, my aunt knocks on my door and wakes me up, telling me that I have a visitor downstairs. She looked a bit mad, so I can already tell who it was. It was my boyfriend Alex, carrying this beautiful bouquet of flowers and my favorite chocolates with him. Even if he looked amazing, his face was the complete opposite because he looked like he was crying for days. I asked him how he found out about where I was and told me that once I turned on my phone again, an app on my phone that we both have notified him of my whereabouts. I was a bit frustrated that he actually came here to my aunt's house, but nevertheless, he was already there, so might as well just hear him out on what he had to say. He basically reiterated what my friends told me, but he added in some other details that my friends didn't know about. Apparently, his old college friends reconnected with him after he lost touch with them after they graduated. They found his Facebook account through some researching and wanted to ask him about his life after all of these years. They were especially happy when he told them that he currently has a boyfriend because they secretly knew he was bisexual, but didn't want to make assumptions or make him feel weird about it. Alex eventually tells them about me, and he mentions to him that our friends are planning a secret birthday surprise for me, and they immediately want to be part of it. After they were added to the group chat, they started suggesting ideas on how to make the surprise much more fun, until their female friend, we'll call her Anna, suggested that they do a prank to surprise me. Alex's college friends were immediately on board because they saw TikToks of it and they thought it was really funny, but my friends were obviously skeptical. Eventually, they agreed what the prank is going to be, and that prank wouldn't take too long. Anna volunteered to be the serial killer since it was her idea, and they all went and did their parts of the surprise so that everything would be ready when my birthday comes. The day of the surprise party comes, and everyone prepares for my arrival. When Anna and Alex went into their assigned positions for the prank, he wondered why she still wasn't in her costume and that her props were missing. But all she could reply was that she forgot. Alex offers to find the costume and props, but Anna insists that there's no more time and that I'm going to arrive soon. Alex at this point was extremely uncomfortable and wanted to get out of their position. But before he could do it, I've already opened the door and saw them. He admits he messed up by laughing at my reaction because it was exactly the reaction he thought I was going to make, but immediately realized what it looked like and called everyone to come out to save himself from the embarrassment and give context to what I was seeing. When he realized that didn't work, he forcefully pushed Anna away to chase after me, but he wasn't able to keep up once I got into my car. It then sunk into him that he messed up big time and that when I drove away, that's when he remembered my trauma about cheating, which made him cry while returning to our apartment. He tells everyone to leave and retreats to our bedroom, not really knowing what to do. To his shock, Anna comes into our room unannounced and starts comforting Alex. He repeatedly tells her to leave and that he'll be fine, but what really set him off was Anna asking him, "So, does that mean you're single now?" That's when he realized she did it on purpose. Alex then shouts at her and angrily asks her to leave, which she then complies to after looking like she just embarrassed herself. Alex is in tears at this point and he tells me that he wishes he just didn't agree with the prank. He's cut off contact with his college friends for now and is incredibly sorry about what happened. He then starts hugging me really tight and says that he loves me so much and that he's scared of losing me. His words alone made me cry because even after everything, I still love him deeply and I do believe everything he said. After a minute or two of us hugging and crying, he lets me go and tells me that we should go back to our apartment, but if I still need time and space, he'll gladly give it to me. I give him a kiss and respond to him with me asking to help me pack my stuff. Of course, I gave my aunt the warmest of hugs and told her how much I appreciated her for helping me. She was happy things got resolved, but also jokingly threatened my boyfriend that if he did something stupid or hurtful to me again, she'll personally whisk me away to safety and away from him. My boyfriend laughed, but I think he was just hiding his nervousness. Now I'm back in our apartment and Alex even offered to throw away the couch that was used for the prank, but I declined since it's a pretty nice couch and everything that has happened was something no one wanted, aside from Anna probably. I've already made amends with my boyfriend and we've probably forgiven each other, and my friends are happy that things worked out in the end. Alex is probably now invited to the weekend party, but I've yet to ask my friends. Haha. So, a few days after my previous update, Alex, my now ex-boyfriend, came up to me while sobbing and confessed that he hasn't told me the complete truth about Anna. Apparently, him and Anna were a couple back then. She was his girlfriend and he did a lot of his first with her. Once they graduated, Anna broke things off with him because she can't handle long-distance relationships and didn't want to be tied down yet. Anna breaking up with him caused him to go into a spiral and develop severe depression along with self-harming tendencies, something he still goes to therapy for. It took a lot of work for him to get out of that hole and to be a functioning human adult again. But things apparently didn't completely change for the better for him until he met me. As I quote, I was the light at the end of the tunnel that he desperately wanted to get out of. But I guess ghosts from the past have their way of coming back to haunt you. A few weeks before my birthday, Alex's college friend found his Facebook and contacted him to reconnect. Things went well for them until he was added into their group chat that had Anna in it as well. As he said, it definitely reignited some old feelings that he had, and it also didn't help that Anna was acting like nothing bad happened between the two of them. They agreed to meet to catch up. One thing led to another until that one thing ended up being them sleeping together every day up until the birthday surprise. LOL. According to him, He was trying to bring back those strong feelings and emotions that he once felt back when he was with Anna. But seeing me look ruined and distraught made him realize that what he had with me was incomparable to what him and Anna had. So I guess that's what led him to confess and be all remorseful. Of course, I had to hear him apologize and cry in front of me, and I did cry too. But I couldn't bear being around him anymore after hearing all of that. I then calmly told him that I accept his apology, but that I didn't want to be with him anymore and that I'd be leaving the apartment and sort things out once we're both in clearer states of mind. He didn't like that one bit and started sobbing, like crazy, even went as far as hugging me incredibly tight just so that I wouldn't go. It was a struggle, but I eventually got out of his clutches by pushing him away hard enough. I ran as fast as I could, ironic, to get to my car and immediately headed to my aunt's house. When I got there, I just sobbed into my aunt's arms and felt incredibly weak. She probably understood why I was crying that much without asking me why. So she started consoling me until I was too tired to cry and slept. Yesterday, I got a call from a friend of Alex that he's in the hospital after being found unresponsive and full of cuts on his arms. I didn't want to go because obviously I'm still hurt about everything, but Alex doesn't have any family anywhere near him and I'm the only one who knows about his medical history and details. So I had to. When I got there, his arms were full of bandages and his face looked all puffy and red. Right now, I'm outside the hospital room waiting for his doctors to give me an update or tell me anything or something that I should do. He also hasn't woken up yet, so I'm bracing myself for when he does. Truthfully, I do still love him very much, but what he did just made it clear for me that we're not meant to be together. I don't know what I'll do moving forward after all this, but I'll just let the universe take the wheel for me at this point. I just wish things didn't end up this way.
We're going to call her Amanda. She just found out recently that her baby daddy is her blood brother. We're going to call her man Devin. Amanda and him actually met on social media. She was actually already receiving messages for him for over the course of 3 years, but she was in a relationship, so she would open up the messages, she would save them, but she would never respond. So she had this one homegirl who was always like, having new dudes. So she asked her like, yo, where are you meeting all these guys? And she's like, girl, you got to go through your Facebook inbox. So she's like, okay, bet, like, let's do that together. So they're at work one day and they're going through her inbox and she's like saying no to pretty much every guy that's popping up in her inbox. Then she sees this one dude and she's like, oh my god, he actually looks really good, I want to talk to him. And he had sent her a message. So her and her friend come up with this message and she basically says like, oh, I see you have a picture of a friend of yours in your profile picture with you. My friend is interested in your friend, but I'm also interested in you. So she thought she was really smooth with that line. So he messages back immediately and he's like, oh, my friend passed away a few months ago, but I've been trying to talk to you for a long time. And she's like, what are you talking about? I only see one message in our Facebook inbox. And he's like, oh, check the other app. I'm not sure which other app, but he's like, check your other app. I've been talking to you there. And so she goes and checks, and sure enough, he's been sending her messages for over 3 years. So they start connecting, and she was like, oh my god, he looks like me. We click. We're really vibing. I feel like this is all like soulmate material. Shortly after they started dating, her baby daddy actually ended up going to prison. This was his, I believe, third time. He had already been to prison twice before. And she held him down for the next 2 years. When he got out, they decided to take a little vacation. It's actually a pinned video on her profile. You can go see their vacation they took right when he got out. And that very weekend, she actually ended up becoming pregnant with the child that they have now, a beautiful baby daughter. Amanda admits that they did plan for this baby. It was something that they wanted. It was not like a spur of the moment decision. When he ended up getting arrested 2 weeks after she had confirmed that she is indeed pregnant, it kind of threw a wrench in the plans. So now she's stuck being a single parent, and people were kind of speculating that this might not be his baby. So she ends up doing like an early paternity test, right? While she's still pregnant with the baby, along with other tests. So when she does that test, it comes back that the baby is double kin to his father. And the doctor's like, are you and the father like related? And she's like, no, we're not. And he's like, are you sure? Because these results are showing that the baby is a double kin to his father. And so she's like, okay, cool. Mind you, Amanda was taking her appointments very seriously. She was going to every imaging, every screening, any testing, any extra ones that they were offering. She was going to all of them. Because her baby daddy was back in jail, she was doing all these appointments with her mother. So she's sitting there with her mother as the, doctor is giving her this news, and her mother is starting to act a little shady. And she's like, I'm going to address this later. So they're leaving the appointment, and she looks at her mom and she's like, why were you acting weird in there? Like, what's going on? And her mother, is kind of like evading the question at first. And then her mother goes, I never thought this was ever going to come up. Like, I never imagined in a million years that this conversation would ever come up. But I have to tell you the truth. You're actually adopted. Her mother goes on to explain that what actually happened was back in the day, her mom used to be a counselor, and she would go to prisons and she would evaluate prisoners. She would say whether or not they needed care, and then she would go ahead and administer the care as well. Come to find out, Amanda's biological mother was incarcerated at the time that that her mother that raised her was working at the prison. And so she was actually pregnant with Amanda at the time. And then when it came time for the baby to be born, there's a rule in prisons where they don't let the mothers have any intimacy, any type of like bonding with the baby. They take the baby right away, and then they, give it either to a family member or they go to foster care. So Amanda was headed to foster care. Her mother had nobody on the outside. She was all on her own. Also, her biological mother did not know who her father was, so there really wasn't anybody for Amanda to be taken in by. And mind you, she already had 2 kids prior to this, right? And so at this point, the counselor, who is now Amanda's mother who raised her, steps in and she's like, I'll go ahead and adopt the baby. So there was no real paperwork. Her mother described it as like an angel being at the right place at the right time, and she ended up adopting Amanda. It was a closed adoption, and she raised her like her own. So come to find out, her biological mother is her boyfriend's biological mother, and they are in fact blood related. They found out all of this after she was pregnant, after they've been together for years. And so they basically looked at each other, and after explaining to him, as awkwardly as you can imagine it being over the jail phone, what was actually going on, and they kind of like processed everything, they decided like, well, we done already done the worst. We done had a child. We done been together. In her words, she said, we decided we're just going to shove it in the back of our brain and we were going to move on with our lives. And so here they are now. She shares the picture of her baby daughter, her family. She's like, my baby daughter was born healthy. She didn't have any, developmental issues, just a perfectly healthy baby, perfectly happy.
Am I the astronaut for getting my fiance's family gifts that were too personal for Christmas when I'm new to them? I am engaged to Noah, and this was the first Christmas I spent with his family. I met them in the summer after we moved to be near his family now that he's finished with college. We're getting married in February, and we're expecting our first child together in May. Being someone who has no family and seeing how close his family was, I wanted to make sure I showed my appreciation for them with the gifts that I gave, so I tried to get something each person would love. One of his sisters loves to read, so I made a book sleeve for her with little details from all of her favorite books. One of his nieces is on the spectrum and has wanted clothes for her stuffy, so I made some clothes for her to put on the stuffy. I bought his mom a jewelry box that she had admired for a couple of times after she mentioned never having a real one. For his dad, I bought him a frame for his office big enough to hold photos of his whole family on, since he always complained that he couldn't find one big enough or nice enough and had no more room for individual frames. I included photos Noah had provided me in it. I got his other sister her favorite makeup when she mentioned she couldn't afford to buy it lately. Then I got his brother a signed piece of memorabilia from his favorite sports team. For the rest of the nieces and nephews, I bought wish list items the parents weren't getting. Noah thought that they would love everything. He told me I didn't need to go to the effort that I did. I spent weeks tracking everything down and searching for certain items, but he really thought that they'd love them. But when Christmas Day happened, I could tell something was off. I spent the whole time worrying that I had bought them stuff that they didn't like anymore or something. They said nothing. But then the next day, they asked Noah what the hell I was thinking, and I was like some kind of stalker buying them such personal stuff when I'm almost a stranger to them. The next day, we saw them again, and I apologized for the gifts that I had given them and told them I would be a lot more mindful in the future. I offered to make it up to them. One of his sisters called me a stalker to my face and told me it was no wonder why my family didn't want me if I was so creepy to do stuff like that. Noah yelled at her. I apologized again and told them that I didn't want to hurt anybody and said I would learn from this. They told me I had overstepped. Noah said we were leaving and they owed me an apology. I feel so bad. Noah is supporting me and told me I did nothing wrong, but surely there wouldn't be so much offense if that were true. I need to ask, am I the asshole? Also, not sure if this is relevant or not, but I grew up in an unhappy home. My parents were unkind to me and my sister. She was much older and also hated me. I think maybe because of how our parents treated her, but I ended up with nobody who wanted me by the time that I was 16, and I was homeless for a good period after that. That's what Noah's sister meant. I had told them honestly when they asked. Edited to add, I want to clarify something that might sound strange. I had spoken to them on the phone before, but we had not met in person until this year. With COVID and us living in a different city at the time, I had not gotten the chance, but they were genuinely all close before this. Sorry for another edit. I just want to clarify that we had met in person before Christmas and more than once too, but I feel like I messed up expressing that here. I met them for the first time in the summer. Also, since people have been asking, they got me gift cards and they did not return the gifts.
Am I in the wrong for being hurt that my mother-in-law wanted to exclude my daughter from Thanksgiving and Christmas to protect my sister-in-law? I, 31 female, married to my husband, Tyler, 32 male, and I gave birth to our first child, a baby girl, almost 3 months ago. I love Tyler very much, and I always felt grateful that I married into the family I did. I grew up with a single mom and it was always just the two of us. I love my mother dearly, but I always wished that I had a larger family unit with siblings when I was little. My mom passed away from ovarian cancer about 2 years ago, so now I truly don't have family apart from my in-laws. By contrast, my husband's parents are happily married and he's one of 4 children. Everyone has always been kind and welcoming to me, and I've always had a blast at their holidays and family reunions. The only exception is Tyler's twin sister, Ashley. Since I met her, Ashley has been cool and standoffish towards me, especially compared to her friendly younger brothers and parents. She's never been outright mean to me, but she's also never made much of an effort to ask me questions or get to know me. I know she also has some resentment towards Tyler and sometimes comments on the fact that he's the favorite and that everything comes easy to him. Some of her comments irk me, since I know how hard Tyler has worked for his success, and also see he has struggles that he doesn't share with his family since he doesn't like to burden others. I've never said anything about the comments, since Tyler accepts the way she is and doesn't get too bothered by her. Even though Ashley and I are far from best friends, I've been sad to learn that she's had a hard time getting pregnant. She and her husband have been trying for around 2 years now, and she recently had a miscarriage. I've tried to be mindful of what she's going through and intentionally avoided talking about my pregnancy and now baby around her. I even declined my mother-in-law's offer to throw me a baby shower since I thought it would be difficult on Ashley and everything going on. With that being said, the entire family has been incredibly excited about my daughter. My husband is the first of his siblings to have a child, and so it's an exciting time and transition for the family. Yesterday, my mother-in-law and father-in-law came to our house for dinner. My mother-in-law said that she had something difficult to speak about with us and started talking about what a hard few years it's been for Ashley. My mother-in-law and Ashley is excited for us, but it's painful to see me with an infant when she's wanted to be a mother for so long. She said that Ashley is dreading the holidays because she's worried everyone will be focusing on and fussing over the new baby. My mother-in-law said that she was looking forward to spending the holidays with us, especially since it's our daughter's first, but she's trying to think of her daughter's feelings as well. My mother-in-law basically asked if we could either sit out on the family Thanksgiving and Christmas this year, or hire a sitter to watch our daughter so all focus won't be on her. My mother-in-law even floated the idea of me staying home with the baby and my husband stopping by quickly to say hello. My husband was livid. He said that Ashley should be the one to stay at home if she can't manage her emotions, and my mother-in-law said that Ashley is going through a lot and needs her family right now. My husband said he's not celebrating the holidays with the family unless the baby and I are both included. I started crying, which surprised everyone since I rarely show emotion. I said that I feel terrible for Ashley, but I'm incredibly sad and disappointed that my daughter is being excluded. I explained that I don't have any family now that my mother is gone, so I really want my child to have a strong bond with her grandparents, uncles, and aunts. My mother-in-law said there will be opportunities in the future for her to bond with the family. I said I don't think I'll feel welcomed in the future now that I know they're so willing to exclude both myself and my daughter. I said it's sad that we're clearly not viewed as an important part of the family since my mother-in-law was so quick to suggest that we both stay home. I said I understand that Ashley is her daughter, and so her loyalty will always be to her first, but also I'm very hurt by the request. My mother-in-law started to backtrack and said that she loves me and her granddaughter very much and that this clearly wasn't the right way to handle the situation. She said she was trying to do the right thing, but she didn't spend enough time thinking everything through. My husband was still fuming and asked his parents to leave even though his mom was crying and begging to work things out. I've gotten several calls from my mother-in-law today. I know that I should give her a call and hear what she has to say, but I'm still so hurt. My husband is also upset and doesn't want to participate in the holidays this year. Maybe I'm being selfish under the circumstances, but I can't believe how easily they could exclude my baby. My husband's pregnant mistress begged me to leave him and I refused. Where do I go from here? I don't even know what she qualifies as, if mistress is fitting or not. It was a drunken one-night mistake in my husband's words. They run in the same work circles and field but don't work together. My husband was dropped off at our house 2 months ago, drunk off his ass after a company event. He was crying and out of it, blabbering about nonsensical things. I tried sobering him up, but his legs couldn't even support him, and I couldn't drag him to the couch, so he slept it off on the ground, and the next day he confessed to everything. He was crying, and I've only seen him cry a handful of times in all of the years of marriage, and he said that everything was foggy, and he doesn't remember much, but he slept with her. I won't talk about my reaction because I can only describe it as violent. Not physically, but I unloaded on him and sobbed and screamed, and then lied to our kids after it woke them up. We tested him for substances because what he was describing, foggy memory, didn't drink much, etc., was assault, and as awful as it is, I felt a little bit of a relief that it might have been, and that he hadn't willingly cheated on me, but there was no trace of it in his system. The past 2 months have been brutal, but we're slowly working on it in therapy. Some may call it weak that I didn't divorce him, but I just can't bring myself to do it, and believe me, I thought a lot about it. He hadn't had contact with her since that night until she got his number and sent him a picture of her blood work a few days ago. She's pregnant and is asking him to meet up. That sent us into another spiral, but we agreed that I would meet her because there's an innocent life on the line. I wish I could say that she's awful and I hate myself for this, but under different circumstances, her and I would have been good friends. She seemed ashamed and honestly looked lost. She's not that much younger than my husband and I. We're 33 and 34 and she's 28, but grew up sheltered by her religious parents. I asked her what she was going to do with the baby and she got quiet. I don't know what I thought she was going to say, but it certainly wasn't her asking me to leave him. She said that once her boyfriend finds out that he'll leave her and her parents will cut her off for having a bastard baby and that she can't do it on her own and that I'll get a nice settlement and start fresh. God help me, but I laughed harder than I thought I could have while she started crying. These past 2 months have been testing my sanity and I don't have much left in me. Once I calmed down, I told her that I will not leave him. If she wants to have the baby, we'll figure out support and custody, but that was about it. She started crying harder in the middle of the cafe, but hell, we were already getting looks from my unhinged laughing and begged me to leave him. I told her that I won't. My husband and I have been together since I was 14 and he was 15. We stuck together through high school, got engaged and married through our BAs and masters, have 2 beautiful kids together, and we're trying for more. I won't throw all that away just because she spread her legs and he slept with her. He's all I've ever known. I don't remember a life without him in it. And let's just say I agree to leave him, then what? He'll marry her and she'll take over my life and be in my kids' lives, raising them half of the time? I didn't let her get a word in and I was crying by the time I was done with my rant. And I left her there. She was sobbing too. My husband and I already talked with a lawyer for a paternity test and we're waiting on that before we do anything else. My husband sent her a text with my contact information and told her all communications are to be through me before he blocked her number. I didn't ask him to do that, but he's trying. I just don't know where to go from here if it does turn out to be his. What should I do?